Why French and German leaders should consider stepping down. Welcome back to Why, your go-to channel for a cheeky spin on the latest news. Today, we're diving into why French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz might want to dust off their resumes and consider a career change. The election shakeup, June 2024, will be a date to remember. The EU parliamentary elections delivered a political earthquake. In France, Marine Le Pen's national rally scooped up about 32% of the votes, leaving Macron's alliance in the dust with just 15%. Over in Germany, Scholz's Social Democrats fared even worse, scraping by with 14%, trailing behind the AfD at 15%. Talk about a plot twist no Hollywood screenwriter would dare to dream of. Emmanuel Macron, president of France. Macron's been playing political football, but seems to have forgotten which team he's on. He's shown a tough stance, even flirting with the idea of sending Western troops to Ukraine. But his flip-flopping and indecisiveness have made allies feel like they're stuck in an endless game of catch me if you can. Paris isn't just about the Eiffel Tower. It's become protest central. Macron's faced a barrage of criticism from politicians and the public over his handling of the Ukraine crisis and domestic issues. On June 5, 2023, thousands took to the streets in Paris and other major cities to protest his economic policies, arguing they don't do enough to shield people from inflation and skyrocketing energy prices. Macron might want to start turning those protest stones into monuments. France's economy is blinking like Christmas lights, but not in a good way. Inflation is soaring, and energy prices are through the roof, hitting everyday folks hard. Strikes and protests are the norm, and inflation hit 5.2% in May 2023, the highest in over 30 years. Not exactly the kind of record you want to break. Olaf Scholz, Chancellor of Germany. Scholz has been playing hard to get with Ukraine, refusing to supply long-range missiles and generally tiptoeing around military support. This cautious approach has ruffled feathers among allies and weakened efforts to support Ukraine effectively. He's also been slammed for not taking decisive action as the situation in Ukraine escalates, causing delays in much-needed military aid. Careful, Scholz. Sometimes being too cautious isn't the way to go. Scholz is under immense pressure from political parties and the German public, especially for his lack of decisive action in supporting Ukraine militarily. Protests and strikes have erupted over dissatisfaction with economic policies. On May 15, 2023, thousands protested in Berlin, Frankfurt, and Hamburg, demanding better living conditions and inflation control. Looks like Germany's famous for more than just beer and sausages. Protests are now on the menu too. Germany's economy is a bit like an overpriced loaf of bread. Energy prices are skyrocketing, and inflation is negatively impacting everyday life. Public discontent is clear from ongoing protests and strikes. Inflation hit 7.4% in June 2023, the highest since 1981. Scholz might need to find a way to turn down the heat in this economic pressure cooker. The big picture. The EU parliamentary election results spotlight the electorate's frustration with the current leaders of France and Germany. Ongoing protests and public discontent make it clear that Macron and Scholz need to rethink their leadership strategies. In the midst of international and domestic crises, new leadership might be necessary to implement more effective policies and restore public trust. Wrapping up. So Macron and Scholz, it might be time to update your LinkedIn profiles and start job hunting. Resigning isn't just about reacting to voter dissatisfaction. It could be the crucial step needed to change national policy direction, especially with the Ukraine crisis and Europe's economic downturn. Sometimes, taking a step back to leap forward is the smartest move.